What about now? Can you hear us? We're doing all right.
Let's check. Let's check in if I can just type in. Might be that you might have us muted, in case.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We're having the
Third
audio. Cool.
party, we
Yeah.
confirmed.
Never. Yeah. Hopping back in. You can probably just trim this off in the VOD. But hello everyone once again to Roll Two DMs. Let's get into it. Uh,
Let's go, the baby
let's go.
car.
Let's go. But yeah, last week we talked about high level play. Was one of the things we touched on, or like levels of play to an extent, making combat interesting, as well as we kind of I do want to hopefully touch on puzzles this week, just because it's a thing that I am interested in seeing, like doing more puzzles, because puzzles are cool.
Puzzles are always a boutique experience,
Yeah.
though. You
Yeah.
gotta, like,
It's tough to get them good. Like that's the thing, because puzzles, like theoretically, are like, oh yeah, you can throw a puzzle at the party, but then when you do something that's like when you throw a fifth grader like puzzle at like a bunch of college students, you have a very high chance of them not succeeding and feeling like this puzzle is too tough, because of how weirdly puzzles are done sometimes in D&D.
yeah, I feel like not having that visual aspect,
Yeah,
kind of makes doing
visualizing
puzzles
yeah,
hard.
that is true. That is true. Having being able to do just the visual aspect itself is super like important, because and visual aids. That's the thing that like really help.
Yeah.
I remember when I was helping out Josue. Shout out to Josue if you're listening. That. I was like going through and going through I think Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and because they have a bunch of puzzles there, and I was going through and kind of seeing if there's anything useful, and I noticed a lot of those puzzles like almost always come with at least one handout to the party.
Really.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't looked at
yeah.
that yet.
Like there was one where it's like there's a skeleton key problem, and it had a handout of a bunch of skeleton keys with various different teeth, so it would be fairly easy. Like it's one of those things where they did provide the best, like the most minimal and I guess useful visual aids that can possibly be done with because yeah, D&D is tough. Not everyone's an artist. You can't. Not everyone can draw a very complex like triangle. Like I can barely draw a circle,
A complex triangle.
Yeah, like a pyramid. Like
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, like I it takes me a while to do that for when I'm doing like my statics homework. I'm like, yeah,
And that's why you
Um,
have to like flex those descriptive language muscles.
yes, no, exactly. That is very true, actually. Yeah, no, descriptive language is super important with this stuff, and making sure that there's also the key thing that I feel I worry about, like sometimes when describing puzzles or when like describing a problem set that could be visual, is there's a thing where what if me as a DM when I'm describing a puzzle, I somehow like if I just describe only the puzzle elements, it makes the puzzle a lot easier than if I just describe the puzzle elements mixed in with environmental assets and just like other elements of the world. Because if I just describe like this, like them being in a room with a bunch of like them being maybe in like this like shop owner's like basement, and I describe how there's just this box in the center of the room, this like metal box that catches their eye pretty fast, and I like that's what they immediately see because I'm their eyes in this case, But if I describe that there also being a bunch of potions in the shelves lining up the whole place, and them being a variety of fluids and substances and such, that adds an extra element of them thinking, are those potions part of the puzzle?
Yep.
You
You
know,
can't like
is this
Chekhov's
yeah,
gun
yeah,
principle.
exactly.
You can't have a gun in the first act and it has to like come back by the
Exactly.
third act or something.
Yeah,
But like
we have
if
to
you're
shoot the gun. That's the
describing
point. Yeah.
something, it's got to be used.
Yeah.
Um
But does it have to be used? That's the thing, because wouldn't you try to approach sometimes to make the world feel more lived in the way of describing environmental elements that wouldn't be used in the actual like puzzle or gameplay at all? Like just this statue just exists here for no purpose other than to be a statue in a world because it makes sense it would be here.
right, but if it's in like a puzzle room, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, people are gonna be like, it's a big statue. What am I gonna do?
Exactly.
With it?
Can you pull the statue? Can you push the statue? What's the statue? And then the thing is, you fall into the case of where like someone's like, I would like to investigate the statue for any hidden elements, and then you would
Bumped
think,
the mic. I'm sorry.
SOH. I think now with XLRs they should be good. They should be better. But yeah, no, like I can imagine, especially with like having a player being like, "Can I look at the statue?" Then you have the thing whether you're gonna be like, "Okay, you can look at the statue, roll an investigation check." And the thing is that you as a DM know that them investigating whether they rolled a 5 or a 20, it wouldn't help them advance in the story, but might give them some extra tidbits about the world. And then you're kind of faced with this conundrum of whether should I give them this roll, and if they fail it, they might feel that they missed out on a puzzle element.
Yeah.
Which is the thing that I think about and I try to be conscious about when I'm DMing through puzzle rooms. I haven't done them too much just because I wish I should actually. I really should, honestly, but I just don't because I'm lazy.
Yeah, puzzles are hard to set up.
Yeah,
Like
they require writing ahead of time.
or the opposite, right?
Or yeah,
You go in and like you say this door is locked.
yeah,
And you describe a chain mechanism leading over into somewhere. I mean, you might have to do some amount of preparation.
yeah,
But when you like describe at least like the actual puzzle itself,
yeah,
not necessarily how it fits in the environment, people are going to start thinking about that as its own isolated thing,
yeah,
its own problem, and like think less about the world. I mean, last week we talked about how traps are really cool.
yeah.
Because,
And you can
like,
work them into combat and work them into the world.
yeah, like if there's like a spike pit in a dungeon, it's like, okay, that makes sense that it's there.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be thinking about like necessarily how it ties in when they're dealing with the problem. But they might look back and say like, oh yeah, that didn't seem like it stood out really bad. Like it wasn't like out of nowhere. It's like we weren't fighting orcs that have like terrible quality like metal work and weapons. I mean, maybe orcs in your fantasy have great quality weapons. Who knows? But still, you can't have like a very complex puzzle.
In a place
like an
that was
orcs.
inhabited by people that wouldn't really be interested in complex puzzles.
Yeah,
Right.
like a wizard's tower
Yeah.
might have more like puzzle-ish traps.
Yeah, where you'd have because the wizard wants to flex his knowledge and flex his like craftsmanship into making something that only the truest and biggest brains can solve.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
like
It makes sense in story because he might be like an asshole who likes doing that shit. You know?
yeah, like that's kind of what wizards did.
Yeah.
Kind of in D&D lore. They kind of
Made their towers and like
made their towers
Yeah.
because they were especially like ancient wizards.
They wanted power. You know, like
Also, they had just had access to more power than
Yeah.
current.
They had so many spells. Like older edition wizards had so many spells, and they were like, sure, like like you can think
Before
about
the
all
weave
the
got
lich-
busted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Weave broke
Pre-spell plague. Yeah.
pre-spell plague.
I think. Right? That's the one.
Yeah, I think
Forgotten
the spell
Realms. Yeah.
plague came about after the Fey
Yeah, the
Rim.
whole like Mistra,
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! I think
No,
Mistra
that's
dying.
like,
That's pretty established lore that no one really cares about at this
is that
point.
like second edition.
I have no
Or
idea.
is that
I really watched like
before
a
that?
couple YouTube videos from like this like Mr. Rex guys. He does like a bunch of like older edition, lore videos and stuff about like what you didn't know about the weave, what you didn't know about this thing. And
YouTube.com?
YouTube.com. Shout out to YouTube. Sponsor possibly, yeah, no, I do agree though. Like, and you can think about also a bunch of the wizards being, like they turn into liches when they, like wizard, like through 5e.
Yeah,
That's how you become a lich.
yeah. Is that
Which is, yeah.
you have to
You have to have wizard levels to be able to cast that spell on yourself.
make a phylactery
Yeah.
and all that stuff?
There's so much spells that are you might be able to become a lich without being a wizard if you perhaps can get a very powerful wizard to do that stuff, but then they have power over you.
Which brings us to talking about high level
stuff. Yeah, because players can.
What can a barbarian do at level 20?
Yeah, exactly. Compared to a wizard, a barbarian can just take a bunch of damage.
Who can make himself like immortal?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. If you think that's the scale, that's the scope, right? Because like wizards, they effectively, depending on the DM, obviously, but lots of games are like, yeah, level 20. If you reach there and you have the spells and stuff, you can research lichdom, and you might become a lich that the DM is then going to use as a NPC in the later game, maybe, or
That'd
you never
be dope.
know. Yeah, like that stuff is like that high level play is where it happens, but barbarians, they have punch.
What is the barbarian level 20 ability?
Depends on the class. It's subclass dependent, I'm pretty sure.
Level 20 subclass dependent?
Yeah, no, like paladins. Let me check actually. This is where we both pull out our phones and I type in. I go into the D&D Beyond app. Shout out to D&D Beyond, sponsor us possibly.
I'm actually just checking my email.
Yeah, bro. But
I mean,
yeah.
why both checking?
The D&D Beyond. Yeah, let me check this actually because I can find it. And anyone in chat also, if they want to like chime in about this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the level 20 cap for a bunch of them is really just scaling further on damage and damage resistance, as well as giving you immunities to certain conditions. Immunity to being charmed, immunity to being frightened, all this stuff, and as well as effectively most times just being making you better at what you were doing previously, but without any like great fanfare. I know that paladins have some cool stuff. Paladins, a bunch of them. I know the Ancients paladin has a very cool like kind of druid transformation they do at level 20, where they get horns and like they get extra spells and like they can like and the paladin oath of either oath of redemption, I'm pretty sure. They can do a thing where they have immunity to they have some really buffed resistance to damage or immunity, perhaps that they have, but they don't have. They can't hit anyone. Yeah, because they're emissaries of peace. So they just work on buffing. So you can cast spells as long as they don't damage anyone or like hurt anyone, and you can like buff people. And but with barbarians though, it doesn't feel as good. There's no like huge transformation that happens.
Yeah, because it's their own power, right?
Yeah, if you think,
that,
exactly.
Like, mortal beings can only go so far without magic or whatever. But why not have some abilities? You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. No, like having some extra abilities, and that's the thing. I am very much a proponent of like we spoke about this before actually. Is just
week,
adding
in fact.
Last week and last session. Check out session 10 on our Twitch VODs and
11.
Session 11, yes. I can't count, apparently. But, we talked about this stuff, and giving those extra feats can feel like, and giving specialized abilities, and I would say giving specialized weapon. Thanks. Oh, shout out to Dexter. He gets infinite rage, and so 20th level barbarian doesn't have subclass specific stuff, but they do get infinite rage and can up their strength and con by 4 up to 24. So you just become.
So does that mean you're
bonking.
raging all the time? Does that just mean?
Well, no. As in, how when you're barbarian rage in later levels, when you like in earlier levels, when you have to hit someone or get damaged on that turn to maintain your rage. So usually it's bonus action rage, and you maintain that rage if you are attacking a person, and like getting that damage in or receiving damage. You have to maintain that with I assume the 20th level feature, you just maintain that rage without having to get hit, which is really good for longer combats, because in 20th level you're going to have points where you're going to have to chase someone or spend your whole turn just moving and repositioning and possibly trying to grapple someone. Infinite charges of that rage, which works well because your bonus actions are not being used for anything else, really.
Because bonus actions suck in D&D.
No, bonus actions suck for barbarians and martial classes. You can get so much bonus action spells as just more.
Dude,
most
just
casters.
actions in general suck in D&D. I feel like
really.
I was talking to Dexter about this. Get doxed.
No,
Well, it mainly reactions,
Yeah.
Mainly reactions are like really boring.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know, reactions are cool. No, I actually no. I feel like you can do something like shield. You know the spell shield.
Yeah,
Casting that as a reaction is kind of sick.
I know, but there aren't like any meaningful reactions, or just take up this like weird small part of the game that don't
Yes.
feel. They all feel very niche, and I feel like it
Well-
should feel like you're using as many abilities as you can per like round. You know what I mean?
Understandable, but if you think about it, reactions are really supplemented a bunch of times by sometimes for class specific stuff, like for monks perhaps, or for more like I think Battlemaster may have some stuff here, also in terms of reactions use their points to be able to do certain things, as well as I can imagine for me personally, playing like as a barbarian, it would just be useful for Sentinel. That's where feats come in. Being able to, as a reaction, stop some person from moving is huge when you are just, when you're fighting this enemy that's moving really fast, and that utility comes there. But in reality, reactions are used to react to. I'm not sure what that was.
You're
Yeah.
good.
But reactions are usually used to react to something that's happening to you in the moment. And in lots of cases, when you're fighting stuff, you're mainly using your main action and your main focus trying to do that stuff, right?
Yeah, I just think that you should be able to react to stuff happening around you or stuff happening
Legendary
to other
actions.
people. I
Right?
mean, that's like for monsters, though.
Yeah, but like, what if we gave legendary actions then to fighters and to martial classes as they are supplementing them? Well,
I mean,
how do you feel
that
about
would be
that?
neat, but I feel like that would have to be like once a.
Like dawn or once?
I don't know.
Once
maybe
a week.
it would increase with like your level or something.
Yeah.
Imagine giving. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Like I guess everything.
Well, you want
except
something cool
movement.
for fighters.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't want more of the same kit.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. That is actually very fair. You are right. But yeah, that is kind of putting a bandage on on a cut off hand.
Why
Yeah.
not? It works sometimes.
It work. Yeah.
It'll just like I don't know, maybe people will think it's OP if that happened, and I kind of think that's a little OP putting legendary actions
I feel
on
like
a-
having that be a part of the capstone or part of the feat they can pick up at level 18 to level 20 could be something interesting to like invest in. Like them like the character themselves becoming strong enough to be able to bypass and be as strong as those monsters of legend, becoming a legend themselves to an extent. If you think about that,
big brain.
yeah, but yeah, no, like adding more, I've seen people do some cool stuff. I've seen people like on Reddit, they the community, the homebrew community on Reddit is crazy, for stuff people do and such. And I do see a bunch of specific stuff for fighters that people do, and lots of them mainly fall in the line of being able to further augmenting what the fighter can already do, and further enhancing whatever martial abilities they have. When you are right, there is a point where we can perhaps invest in just adding more adding actual new abilities.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Like, where do non-magical people fit in a very high
That's the
magic
thing.
world?
How do you give them power in that regard, right? Because like when you think about it, like wizards, you can explain them getting these like awe-inspiring powers because they're being
Studious.
wizards, they're doing magic. Magic is that explanation for lots of the like awe-inspiring feats that people do. Except when you're a fighter, then it's your pure just be able to your muscles be so strong. You can move you can roll lots of dice.
Yeah, like,
that's the thing. Like fighters, what you just get action surge, haste, and you're just like hitting like so much sword strikes.
Yeah, you're just swinging shit around.
Yeah,
You're not like blowing people up by pointing at them like
Yeah.
you can as like
Finger
a,
of death
what,
or something,
Fourth,
yeah,
a fourth
disintegrate.
level wizard.
yeah. Oh yeah, you just fireball
Fireball.
them. Yeah, you just like point at a point, and then it's a fireball just happens. and or other classes, like you can just bring someone from the dead, like with being a cleric or being like a druid. You can just turn into these huge monsters. You can turn into a giant subterranean lizard, which is crazy, right? And that kind of,
It's true.
yeah. And those abilities, when compared to a fighter being able to swing really fast for 6 seconds, and then maybe be able to not die as fast.
Yeah, well,
gets- yeah.
doesn't the zealot barbarian, like when he's in rage,
You
when
get yeah.
he can't
Oh,
die
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever?
Yeah, like that's a later level thing where you, I think is the mechanic is that you take the damage you take still affects your death saves and stuff, but you maintain consciousness.
Oof.
Which is, yeah, I remember. I think that's, or I can't remember if that's a spin-off that I had. You can yeah, you can tell I haven't really played that much high level stuff, but
No one
yeah,
has.
yeah, no one has because no one gets to it.
Because
'Cause
it's not
it's
set
weird.
up. It's
Yeah.
like the system's not quite set up for
The only time it's set up is when you have like a shit ton of magic weapons. Like when you have Black Razor on hand, when you have like like a Sunblade on hand, or like any type of any of the named cool legendary weapons. That's when you get actually cool because you have stuff you can do with those weapons. You have that damage output that feels that you are this cool person because you got this lightsaber made out of like the sun that you just swing around and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, at high level play, there's kind of like a unspoken agreement between
you have to have
DMs and or the DM and the PCs
Yeah.
that like, hey, I'm gonna put content in front of you, even though you have the power to not engage it on the terms that would be
To Angry to Die is 14th level.
14th level.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Which
good.
is pretty nice, yeah.
It is Zealot though. There we go.
Zealot Barbarian, yeah.
I love barbarians, but
They're
not enough to really know about how the class
Yeah.
levels. Damn.
Shame.
Yeah, like so at a very very high level, especially with high level casters,
Yeah.
you can engage content on your own terms,
Yeah.
and that sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like 4 months of planning
Yeah.
this dungeon thrown out the window because they're like, okay,
I don't want to do this.
I'm gonna go over the mountain.
I remember that was the thing from like Matthew Koval did the thing of, oh yeah, we don't want to go through like under, we want to go up through the misty mountains and go just fly above. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you're like, you can do that, but like you might like it's not gonna be as fun. And I was like,
Missed out on all the
Yeah,
content
yeah.
in where were they supposed to go?
I haven't seen
Whatever.
Yeah. But any Lord of the Ring fans
Ignorance.
in the chat can chime in.
Any Lord of the Ring fans?
Yeah.
We need you.
But yeah, no, like that's the thing with like content and that stuff. Also for high level play, is that it involves lots of planning, and it hurts a bit more when the players avoid it, because
Yeah.
you plan, because especially with how like high intensity it has to be able to feel like it goes fast, and it feels nice, and it's difficult enough to be a challenge. You have to have all those three things of not taking a full like day per combat, if you can, and like or at least not every single combat has to be that way, and not being like it has to feel like there's some momentum to it. You can't just, like, because that's the issue with high level play, is then it can become a trudge of just going through a bunch of like bullet sponges when you just like walk through.
Yeah.
And but the thing is that it's really tough to balance that stuff, and I can imagine it feels really bad when people avoid that stuff.
And that's when you have to start making your own content, because I mean that's
sure,
when you
yeah.
have to like start going to other planes and stuff. Because like there's
True.
only so much that you can challenge.
Yeah, I would say plane hopping starts at like 15.
Yeah.
Like earlier, honestly. If you have like a plane, someone who's playing, like whose character is tied to the plane, like other planes and stuff, then yeah, I would say even earlier. But like plane hopping, like level 15 till 20, that's the move. That's where the cool stuff lives.
Like Avernus.
Avernus,
You
yeah.
like hop into Avernus super early.
And you're supposed to be this fish out of water, except fish in lava.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah,
I really want to run an Avernus game.
dude, Avernus is cool. I've stolen a bunch of stuff from it.
Yeah, like the The War Machines.
The War Machines are really
War
cool.
Machines are rad.
Yeah, dude, the Mad Max cars, so cool.
They
Uh,
shoot
They shoot
harpoon.
Yeah, no, exactly. They shoot harpoon, and you know that plane hopping stuff. That's where it gets. Yeah, but that's kind of more, I guess, into designing those high level encounters and such. More about perhaps, yeah, like I guess the easiest solution to high level play, in my opinion, for me as a DM, is just don't do it. Just end the game at 15, and you're gonna have a fun time.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Sure, yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I guess like
You know.
you'll miss out on those later level things where you're like, I wanted to use those abilities, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
which is the thing that sucks, but like yeah, I don't know, like as from like for me, in terms of writing and planning that stuff out, it really is one of those things where like at those higher levels, it's not gonna be that like it might be. It depends on the party, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, is the party a kind of party that when they get to that high level, when they are kind of like no longer just protectors of like
They
themselves,
are the heroes of the
they're
realm.
Not, they're like more than the heroes of the
The
realm. They're like the
universe.
heroes of like
The universe,
pretty much
essentially,
their
yeah.
like
Yeah,
country or
yeah.
whatever.
They are the Avengers.
Well, I guess the realm is a country,
Yeah.
but like a larger scale than just the realm. You know
Oh
what
yeah,
I mean?
no, like I imagine it being that they are fighting forces for the material, like for the material plane. Like 18 to 20 is when you're fighting for stuff to keep the world from exploding.
Yeah.
When there's like to preventing the worldwide
The
cataclysm.
weave.
The weave, literally, yeah, no, exactly. Like fighting off of Avatar of Tiamat, stopping like the Princess of Apocalypse, bringing on the apocalypse. Like
That's when you're like
yeah.
Tiamat.
Yeah, exactly.
Vecna.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Like when you're like trying to fight Vecna and like stop Vecna from being like the superpower, like taking
Yeah.
over the world. Like it's one of those things where you're literally just taking down these threats that would endanger the whole world, not just your country, your nation, or even like the continent. It's the whole like material plane.
Yeah, and there aren't
Yeah.
like a whole
There's
aren't,
a select
like,
few,
a
there's a select
ton.
few of like I guess adventures you can do with that shit.
like what invasions from
Yeah. Other
like hell
yeah,
or the
yeah.
abyss.
Yeah, like having the blood wars spilling in, which is kind
Yeah,
of a
there we
nice
go.
pun.
There we go.
But like, yeah, having that stuff, like having like perhaps the elemental plane of fire choosing to expand. I like some mechanists, March of the Modrons. Have them deal with that.
That would be sick.
that would be horrifying.
the Madrons would
yeah.
be nuts.
Yeah, and imagine having to deal with like a Modron March as like level like 18 characters.
That'd
You
be
have
sick.
there's so much enemies.
They would all have 1 HP though.
They would all have no. You'd be one shotting everything, but everything is too much.
It's true.
And that's when you had to deal with a thing where then the party goes into mechanists.
Unless you're a 14th level zealot barbarian, and then you just wade into it.
Well, yeah. Then you just start swimming, and then you're just gonna drown.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, like that's the thing with high level play. You get to those types of games where you're doing stuff where like I know lots of campaigns like doing the thing where at that high level, the party wants to become gods, or they want to make a party member a god, and they want to like pursue that thing of like, oh, I would like to try to and that's where you get into the discussion of how touchable are the divine like pantheon in your game, because like
Yeah.
some games have mechanics for that where you go through a process. You have to like to become like part of a pantheon.
I don't know many games where
They've
well
been
I've
popping up more
never
often
had a
now.
player that's wanted to become a god.
Yeah.
I've had a player that's wanted to become a lich. I've had a player that's wanted to become a king, but
Yeah.
I mean there's never been the great Madron
It's the
March.
coolest. Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, Napi. It's such a cool like event that can happen. It's like it is the random chimp event, but like
It is the random chimp
yeah.
event, except
Yeah.
they have crossbows
and they can
and
lots of eyes,
paralysis beams,
eyes.
paralysis gas.
Yeah, and that's your immune to paralysis.
There we go.
But yeah, no, like it's
Too angry to be paralyzed.
too angry to be paralyzed. That's the homebrew feat you had. He's just too angry to X for all those Elite Barbarian like
Mad
feats you
boys.
get. But yeah, no, like it can become really interesting at that high level because yeah, you're gonna be dealing with so much stuff. And you can deal with so much stuff. And once again, it depends on the game, right? Because your games, for instance, won't be will just have the Lich be like Lichdom be the top tier, but other games would have the thing where yeah, this party at this level they can become a Lich and they can become a Lich and then some because they've acquired every single party member is on the level that they can like take on a Lich. Then
If one of my players becomes a Lich, they're not sticking around as a player for very long for me.
that's fair and
Because
yeah.
like most of my parties are good aligned.
Yeah,
And the way that you feed souls to a
the
phylactery
soul economy.
in for a Lich to keep a Lich
Yeah.
surviving is you kill people,
Yes,
right?
which is usually bad in the most case scenario, unless you're fighting bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and then that's where you as a DM can have the option of opening up this discussion for homebrewing other methods of feeding their like lichdom and adding different mechanics, and then you're kind of like like being able to add different ways for them to feed on
He
magic.
just
or
becomes a
energy.
warden,
Yeah.
and he just like
Like on the
manages a prison.
Yeah, or just have them be that they always have to like they're always venturing into like some like like bad guy place, and every day they just had to kill a person that's bad, and like there's a bunch of bad guys in the world.
Yeah, there is
You
a
just
way.
become like Batman and just
Kill people. Except
yeah.
Batman doesn't kill people
Unless what if
unless
Batman killed people? That'd be a lich.
what if
But like yeah, no, like it would
Bat
be.
Lich sounds
Lich.
dope.
That sounds sick. That sounds actually kind of sick. But yeah, no, you can imagine that kind of being like a way of you like, and that's the thing is that you as a DM do have the ability of making these exceptions
Yeah.
and making these adjustments to the world because it is your own world that you have all the gears you can twist. You have all the levers to pull and buttons to push to make this work for your players if you want to.
If you want it to work
Yeah.
for your players.
Yeah, because like that's the thing is that lots of times I hear these discussions and like it's totally fair, but lots of times the solution is you can change the world. You write this game.
Yeah.
If you and the players are cool with you changing elements of the world to accommodate for a story that y'all want to play in, you can do that. No one's gonna stop you. There's no policeman that's gonna knock on your door and say, "Are you running your Forgotten Realms lore 2 code?" and goes through your like session notes and double checks whether you've maintained the rules on Lichdom.
I know. It's not up to
Jeremy Crawford isn't gonna bust through the window. And
it's not
like,
an
punch
ADA
you.
compliant.
Yeah, exactly.
American
like, yeah,
disabilities.
exactly. Like you don't have. Wait.
ADA.
Yeah. But regardless of which, you don't have to like. Yeah, you can get a license. Yeah, you got a license for them liches, mate. Like that's the thing. You don't have to like abide by those rules, really.
Hey, this is a phylactery-free zone. You
Yeah,
can't,
no, exactly.
You can't harvest souls around these parts.
And yeah, no, like that's the solution for that. I guess is you can just change the world.
Yep.
As a DM, but yeah, high level play is weird in general. I feel like
Remember
our
the false
statements-
Hydra that I was gonna run?
Oh yeah, I don't think I've. No.
So the false Hydra.
I know what false hydras are now because so much of the D&D like I guess yeah.
Dude, I was about to run that shit before it was cool, and then it became super cool.
Everyone knew about
and I was
that's
like,
the thing that's
no!
annoying. That everyone knows about it now. Everyone's been like, "Oh, super spooky false hydra encounter."
Oh, happy Halloween.
Yeah, but like it's fun. Yeah, no, but it's a fun encounter though.
Yeah.
It's scary,
It's
like,
a fun
it
like
adds
3-session
tension.
adventure.
It adds
You know?
tension to the like encounter because you're gonna be running a false hydra, and what if a player dies?
Dude, I don't give a
That'd be
fuck if
yeah.
a player
no,
dies.
for the
They-
to the stakes.
I know.
Yeah, no,
what
like,
if a player dies?
Player death is player death, and you can choose to whether I know some people have worked around it and done like lasting injuries instead of deaths for stuff.
Yeah, I
where,
mean, I guess you could do a lasting injury, but if you just all of a
Fall in
sudden,
lava. You're not gonna survive that shit unless you're like Darth Vadering out.
if you get killed by a false Hydra, I'm sorry, your character is
Who's
out of the
who's
game.
the character?
What?
Who is that person?
Who are you? Why are you?
Why are you
have
in this
been,
table?
Why have you been sitting at this table
Yeah,
for so long
yeah,
without a
exactly.
character?
Yeah, exactly. How did you get on this table? We just fought this false Hydra and you just show up.
Who are you?
Well, yeah, exactly. Which could
Kobe?
be like, which could be like a fun thing to do. Honestly, it's just because it adds like there's amount of permanency in that death, in the way that if the party doesn't find a way to work around the mechanics of a false Hydra, they won't be able to get a revivify even if they're high level.
Well, here's the thing with like
I can
a
imagine
false
yeah.
Hydra.
Yeah.
There's no like real way to beat it, right?
Yeah.
I guess you could come up with that way. What I like doing is like I like putting shit out there, even if people are like, "Oh, I know it's a false Hydra," and I like letting them try something, and I'm like, "That doesn't work,"
Damn.
and then they have to come up with something, you know?
Well, that's the thing that I can imagine, like a big bad, even using a false Hydra as their way of killing their enemies.
That would be wild.
That'd be like some real psycho shit. Like, you can have a lich do that actually. That'd be kind of sick. Like, just have a lich who has a pet false Hydra that he's found a way to circumvent the rules on false Hydra, occurrences and such. Let's see. My favorite ridiculous high level scenario is destroying the Book of Vile Darkness. Yeah. You have to wipe out all evil in the multiverse to destroy the book. That would be kind of that's another high level mission, destroying the Book of Vile Darkness. That
What
is
if you come across a
child
a
who's
child,
like mean.
yeah,
That's
an evil child,
and then you become evil because you
then
killed
you
the
have
child.
to, then at the end of it,
Bro, that'd be kind of a sick twist of after killing all this evil, you are the last evil in the world for killing everyone. who's
so if you
evil.
have an evil party mate and they're doing all the terrible shit, right?
and you let them,
and you let them do that, are you evil?
well, that's for the DM to decide, really. Honestly, because the DM decides what's going to be evil for that mechanic, because it's a mechanic at that point. Like when you turn evil from being an opinion on certain things to being a mechanic, that's where the DM has to come in, really, and talk to players and think about that stuff.
That'd be dope. I forgot all about the Book of Vile Darkness.
Yeah, and
What's
there's
that from?
It's from DMG.
Damn.
It's in the sample artifacts.
Really?
Yeah, that, and there's the other book, the good book, which is the book of Ido, is the one that's good.
Holy light,
So, yeah, something like that. But it's one part of the
not vile.
yeah. And that's the cool thing about destroying an artifact could be a way of doing that kind of destroying an evil artifact. The quest to destroy an evil artifact could be a cool thing for the party to do, because it could involve one of the party members using the artifact in their travels. What if what if your quest was to destroy something, but you ended up wielding it to get through the final level, and then you were
the hand or eye of Vecna,
yeah, and or both,
or both.
You never know.
The hand and or eye of Vecna.
Yeah, /I, but that stuff can be really cool. Honestly, just in general, but yeah, high level play is very packed. Oh yeah, the Book of Exalted Deeds. That's
Exalted Deeds,
which
so
makes sense. Yeah, Vile Darkness. It has all the good stuff in the world. It has all the good deeds. So top 10, top 10 best deeds by Watch Mojo just pops up.
Oh my god!
But
Watch Mojo's definitely in the Book of Vile Darkness.
Probably, yeah.
No one's ever said those words before.
Yeah, I think he went through a special set of words there. But yeah, I feel like we talked enough about high level stuff. When we talked about
What
puzzles,
about
to
low
the mount.
level?
Yeah, low level stuff is also interesting. It's fun. Level 1 combat. One goblin,
Dude.
One goblin. 2 giant rats.
3
The party
goblins.
TPKs. Three giant rats. The party TPKs. You're done. 2 guys with sticks. Party can be dead if they roll bad. That's the crazy thing. And also, party can mow through an encounter that would kill another party if one person rolls a hit on something.
Level 1 barbarian absolutely smokes any level 1 caster. That's the thing. Their Y value is so much. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
4
Yeah.
HP wizard. Well, my I guess potentially 16 HP barbarian.
Yeah, it's literally it's. You think about that shit where you're
Very
building-
reasonably 16 HP at
Yeah,
level
no.
1.
You roll your d12. You roll
No,
like,
you just do 12 plus your con mod. at
oh
level
yeah,
1.
12 plus con, so you can easily do that. And like even with a +2 con, and if you're playing a barbarian with +2, what are you doing? +3.
I know.
Out the door, +3. You got this. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, no, like that's the style of play that has a very different feel and different difficulty to it, because you're gonna think about the fact that whether you're gonna throw some like CR quarter enemies at the party and have it be a
4
charge.
HP wizard's so funny.
Yeah, I'm thinking about,
If you
yeah.
sneeze too hard, you'll
If you roll a
like
d4, if you roll a d4 and max roll the d4,
bust a
or a
rib and die.
like a 3+1, which is a reasonable thing for a club. Like if you have like a club
I know.
and you just hit someone or like just punch them and you have a 4 strength, you knock them out. That'd be so funny
A
though.
great sword could insta kill that.
You roll a 12.
Yeah,
you're dead.
just roll a 12 and
You're
you're dead.
No, and that's the thing. But that's the thing as a wizard at that high level, at that low level, is that you literally are just here to survive.
Probably
your
not.
objective is to survive. Yeah.
Shut up.
Shout out to the Sunless Citadel for throwing a white dragon wormling at a level 2 party. That sounds horrifying.
That's in the Sunless Citadel.
Makes sense though. Like I heard some stuff about the Sunless Citadel. I know that I was talking to Clifford. He ran that game for like a bunch of new people. And it was tough. Like it's running like a war. Imagine running a war. I'm thinking about that.
Dude, I really want
You can insta kill
an end
a wizard.
times Warhammer.
Oh,
Oh, is that when you're? What were you saying when you said war?
I was thinking. I forgot. I'm thinking about Warhammer now.
Warhammer's pretty dope.
Dude, like having a
Shout out to
yeah.
Klieg.
Yeah, shout out to Klieg. But like having a Warhammer themed, like or having just a Warhammer like tabletop RPG, that I'm not a fan of that stuff. Honestly, it's too gritty for me. It's too much. It's too
It
much
is too
dark.
gritty.
It's too much grim.
So
Too much
grim.
Too much dark.
So dark.
I prefer some grim fun.
Yeah, some grim
Like,
fun. Grim fun's pretty
Yeah,
good.
like having like some like steampunk, like stuff, or some like mixed noir stuff. That's cool. But for me personally, I'm not a fan of the like super. Oh, I shot once. This thing spat some acid on me. I'm dead. Like I'm not like
Yeah.
like it's
Well,
not it's
I
not
mean-
fun for me.
I
Yeah?
guess. Like
Right?
I like the setting.
The setting is cool. No, I fully agree.
Orcs are grim fun.
Orcs
Orcs,
are
are grim
Yeah,
fun.
they are. Because like you have the orcs
That's
are
the
truly-
epitome of grim fun.
Yeah.
Is orcs.
Where you just go crazy, go stupid. Doesn't let you go. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, no. Invisi says, yeah, no. If your TTRPG doesn't let you go fancy furniture shopping, are you really having fun? For me, no. I agree. I fully agree that if you're not DMing fantasy furniture shopping and selling the party a bunch of really tough to sell like hardware, like a lamp that's shaped like a baby.
Have you ever gone to like fantasy lows?
Dude.
Lowers?
The
Lowest?
party's been
Fantasy lows?
yeah. They bought some furniture. They bought a dumpster. They bought a stainless steel. They bought like a nice steel dumpster to make their house compliant to like LEED like green certification.
What?
Yeah, no. It was a fun.
Sorry,
adventure.
that might come across
might have
pretty
popped.
wild.
But like yeah, no, like it's pretty fun though. Like it's that's the thing with like that's the vibe I'm going for though.
I want
Like-
my noir armoire.
Dude, your noir armoire, your Guy Fieri like couch, you're like with the flames. The dumpster was super important to the plot. Yeah, no, exactly.
Is this why I can't join back in 2 sessions?
There's too
Because
much
we're buying a
supporting
fucking
plot.
dumpster?
No, they're going through the final fight. Shout out to the party going through that fight. It's gonna be fun.
Sounds dope.
Yeah, you can probably sit in for that fight if you want to just watch. If you want to just hear them die.
Yes, map. Guys
Yes.
buying a dumpster.
It sounds
Me
yeah.
rejoining the campaign for the 5th time.
with the 4th character that you're coming. You've
My first
full
character.
circle. Full circle now. Full circle.
Look, dude, I just want that guy.
We need the I needed
to
the
be-
dumpster to get the no.
We needed the dumpster to get.
You can read that out. For me, it makes sense. But yeah, no. So,
What? Okay. We needed the dumpster to get the dumb sword boys to the cannon
to be
feet,
to be cannon fodder.
to be cannon fodder for the vampire.
Yeah, no, because I'll explain it afterwards. But like,
Okay.
it's a pretty. It made sense in the story. It's story relevant. Don't worry about it. But
Stainless steel dumpster.
yeah, well, I'm not sure where the stainless steel actually. They probably wouldn't spend that much money. Actually, no, the party. Yeah, they might have gotten a stainless steel one.
Stainless steel is not too
But
expensive.
for like a restaurant dumpster.
Restaurant
They
dumpster
got
for
one of
their
those-
house.
You know the ones that are outside,
Oh yeah.
like those, like the huge ones that you can fit up like 3 bodies inside.
You could do more than 3 bodies. I bet you
least.
could do like
I played Dishonored. You know how much bodies you can fit in those? A
like
bunch.
20 bodies.
Yeah, no, at least. But
And they
regardless
start
of which,
making that like clipping sound.
oh yeah, they start just colliding, and the physics just gets crazy in that dumpster. But that's the thing, you know, like low level play can get to that degree of funness where you know, and also I feel like you can do that with high level stuff. You can get that same level of like interesting like engagement in it, but like with low level stuff, you do run the risk of you can have fun in that. You can have fun in the setting still, but you also have a high chance of dying, which I think that I enjoy. Like the training wheels are on to the most degree, except that some stuff will kill you, and you might die, and you might not be able to revivify yourself.
That's why I like high power, low level games.
That's what I like to run. Also, that's the thing. Yes, and you can also run, you can run level 20 encounters with parties that have like 15 level characters that have 20th level like items.
Yeah.
And run that stuff. That's how I might run most like tough encounters at that point. I'm probably gonna run them. I can run like those high level, like level 20 and like level 18 to 20 combats at level 15, but I give the party shit ton of items and feats. I enjoy that style of play where you have that lower HP and lower ability stuff, but you still have the tools to be able to go through this combat and survive and come out victorious, hopefully with minimal losses.
It's just like Warhammer. It's all about the builds.
It's all about the builds, I guess. It's all about the builds. Let's check what time is it? Yeah, we still have about 10 more minutes.
10 more
We can
minutes.
talk about what other topic you wanted to talk about today.
Talk about that McDonald's that's been
Dude,
sitting in there
shout out
for
to
50 minutes.
Shout out to the no, dude. Put that stuff in the air fryer.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, it becomes super crispy.
Shout out to the
Uh,
air fryer, the most
Shout out to air
important
fryers.
D&D topic.
Yeah, no, straight up. But yeah, no, like puzzles. I think about puzzles too much, but I can't really think about the solution to them. The solution I have is look for
My
research.
party's come up with the solution.
Well, yeah, no, that's the thing. That's another point. Is with puzzles and with
Sometimes.
like traps. There's lots of the times there's a big thing about you as a DM, me in particular, when I was like improv like I almost always improv DM, and there's one time where Danny is in the chat, so she might remember this encounter where the party was on a one shot thing going, and they wanted to break into this potion seller shop. Okay, and they wanted to do
I
some
know it
theft.
was a big
was a
point of
big point,
contention
yeah. It was a big-
between my character.
You do the line character and them. Yeah, no, it was a fun times. But during that time when they were trying to break into this place, what I planned out was a bunch of points of entry that they could get into. They can lockpick the front door, and they would have to somehow sneak through that, or they can perhaps go through and I didn't really plan any real like extra points of entry. Really, I just made it to be a building that is well secured. It is fortified against mold earth, and it's fortified against climbing. Like, you'd have to make an acrobatics check when you do, even with climbing speed, because this is specifically designed to be to the detriment of people who climb. They've tabaxi proofed these houses. Because you imagine that
Good.
being like a good mechanic in like in a modern or slightly more modern D&D setting, is people are aware that people can climb with no issue, and they will plan for that by making adding those pigeon spikes that they add.
Yes.
Adding that stuff to all the walls. Just add a bunch of shards of glass everywhere, and it's gonna make it look suck, but it's gonna be safe.
Exactly. It's going to be safe.
It's gonna be safe for the people who are for the people who are inside the house, And I remember the part. That's the thing. You let your party solve those problems. You just provide them the house, And as an improv DM, you have those tools of just being able to improvise how they're going to enter. And what I did is, I gave some hint on like some possible things in the moment. Like you see that there's steam coming out of this thing, these steam vents and stuff. And then because I know that there's a party member who has a spider bot. He has like this like familiar that they can send in through the vents, and through that they can scout through and see and get the layout of the land. I got a fairly rough schematic of the place, and then once they enter. Making up the puzzle is the biggest power move. That is the biggest power move. Honestly, it feels good when it works. It feels bad when it doesn't.
Dude, I just like setting up the environment, and I like
The
saying
players
that
go
there's
crazy.
something that's closed.
Yeah,
And
have the
man,
player solve it.
I was aware that this is already an existing puzzle, but like
Yeah,
there's like a dais in the middle, like a raised kind of like a podium or whatever,
yeah.
that just has like a clock on it, and it ticks down like 10 minutes, and every time the button is pressed down in the middle of this like dais, the counter resets.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is actually just something that I found
On Reddit?
like yeah, on
Yeah.
Reddit or somewhere. But I was like, I actually don't have a solution for this.
Yeah. Yeah, the parties solve it. And they can. If they
everyone
don't,
everyone was just like confused. No one knew what to do. I didn't
Yeah.
know what to do. I was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. But
Yeah.
like they weren't pulling out any ideas that kind of made it feel like it fit. So
Yeah.
at the end they were like, let's just wait till it times out. And I was like, oh shit, that might not be good. But then I was like, okay, well, I mean, I don't want to sit in this one room for so long.
Have them
I'm
fight
just going to
themselves.
make it open.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
that could
gonna
be a
make-
fun thing. That could be just a fun thing if like the puzzle is you not doing anything.
Yeah, the puzzle
And-
was you waiting.
Waiting for the bomb to tick and nothing to happen.
Yeah.
And that was that is a fun way of doing it. Speaking of which, that does add to the element of time being one of the best motivators for a party to solve a puzzle.
I think I
And
had
also
like the
panic.
last 10 seconds or something like it started glowing.
Yeah, just
Just
some
to, like,
random,
really
some
freak
random
shit.
visual effect happens, and that was the thing that I did similarly because they got into this like basement for this potion seller's place, okay, and in the center of this basement, so the party was super worried about there being traps and stuff, and the artificer even like looked around and like rolled investigation for traps, no traps, it's a potion seller's basement. He has all the potions that are supposed to be stored there, because that's the way that he lives his life.
Because
You
traps are illegal.
No, traps are not illegal. Why would you trap your your tool shed? You are a merchant.
I don't know about you, but I have a portcullis trap
Oh,
set up.
I thought you were
in
gonna
my
have
shed.
I thought you were gonna have like a tripwire shotgun trap somewhere, like be like a saw trap or something inside.
No, dude, it just shuts people inside.
Oh, that'd be horrible. Just trapping people inside. But the thing is yeah, that's the fun thing about like lots of times is the thought of there being traps adds the level of difficulty that the party, experiences. They worry about traps every single moment. I remember they were going through this like crypt, and they were expecting there to be traps throughout this whole place. They're like inspecting. They're worrying about people following behind them. Some people ambushing them and stuff. But no, this is a graveyard. This is literally just a place where this church has their clerics rest. Nothing's weird's gonna happen here because most people who go through here are scholars. The only people who go through here is the grave tender and the scholar who like checks out stuff. And having that, but still having that element of difficulty and expectation and worry adds a level of like tension. And then you can always do some fake outs and some like gotcha moments where once they relax, you can pull the rug from under them and have something that they didn't expect happen.
Yeah, but
You know?
like perhaps the reason that they thought there was going to be so many traps is that that's the way they were envisioning that
As
that
a player.
area as a player. That's like their
Which is,
fantasy.
yeah, exactly. Which is the thing, and that's where the point where when I realized as a DM, I should throw some traps at them. I didn't want to throw. I didn't plan on throwing them initially, but if they want traps,
And
they're
how do you
looking for
detect
difficulty-
traps without just the roll? How do you make it fun.
Well, you describe stuff in the world. Some traps don't have to be like a tripwire or
Back
a
to
pressure
traps.
plate. You can possibly what I did is
go.
the trap sprung when there was these doors that that were locked, and it's like, except there was no like door hit like handle to twist or such. And I knew that one of the party members spoke Celestial, and in like on the top of the text there was like this lore piece of like like from like the I had pre-written ahead of time to be like, that would fit in this like thing, and then none of the party members were that much familiar with this. Like, so I think one of them rolled like a religion check and remembered that possibly these texts may be related to the church, which makes sense since it's the church's script. And after that, there was something about blood written in it, so the party did a reasonable thing and tried bleeding on the door, and the door opened because that's how they're supposed to open it.
There you go.
Yeah. No, like it was very simple. It was like, there's something about like the blood of the worthy or something. And the mechanic and how I thought about it is the person who made this trap was just he wanted to make a trap, not a trap, just a obstacle, so that people who couldn't reach Celestial and didn't know that you're supposed to bleed on this door could open the door. Then one thing happened is that like a fallen Asimar character, like he chose to bleed on the door for one of them, and I was like, wait, these architects were racist. They hated the fallen Asimar because they thought that protector Asimars were cooler and like the holy ones, and that the fallen ones were like evil. So they put in safeguards so that if any like race of like monstrous like origins bled on the door, that it would trigger the trap where there was a sentinel that pop up, and the trap was sprung.
Shit.
That's how it works, You make the puzzle, you make the counter according to what the players are expecting, and sometimes they may also circumvent your expectations when another character wanted to barbarian wild surge while touching the door to short circuit the door. It worked. It makes sense. It works because why did it work? Because I said so.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like that. That's the key thing about D&D is that sometimes it works because it makes sense. I didn't plan for this. I didn't write any note for this. But when it works, it works, and that's how it rolls. Essentially. And you're sure some people may feel that writing ahead of time does work also.
Yeah.
I don't have time. I don't have the energy. I generally don't have the creative energy to write ahead of time.
I like writing, but
I
it
enjoy
takes a
writing
lot of energy.
Yeah, no, literally. When I'm going through like a 15 credit semester where like it's all engineering classes and like I'm switching majors also, like I'm not gonna be in the mood to write a puzzle. I'm gonna be in the mood to like sleep and watch like a show.
Time to steal puzzles from the internet.
Exactly, and that's where you open up Tasha's Cauldron of Everything if you can. If you can't, you can acquire it through means. And then you can just like or just Google the puzzles. Thankfully, the community is fairly nice about sharing these resources with people who don't buy them. You keep turning the microphone on and off. I think.
Oh no, I just did one time.
Yeah, I was worried because I keep checking. I was like, is your mic good?
Like this.
But yeah, no, like and similarly to that I just want to loop back once again to the puzzle thing that I in the potion seller's room. The key thing that like I learned from that thing was my first time running a puzzle, okay, and the key thing I learned is that I planned on this puzzle being just a simple density problem where you meant to put 3 liquids of varying densities into this container, and once you did, the puzzle would open because the potion seller is an alchemist. He likes tidbits about physics and physical properties, like like oil, water, blood, like oil, water, lemon juice. Like that's the thing. You can make a vinaigrette and like add that, and it would work as like the density problem thing, and that's the thing. And the players, what they figured out is they try to look around for any hints and stuff, and they found this thing, and they're able to actually just force the lock. They just force through it, and it works. Like they managed to like lodge they use thieves tools like pick an element of it, because. And then they were able to get more hints also. I can't remember whether they actually solved it through because also one of the characters was a warforge, so they had oil on hand. Given that like I kind of like how I built it is that warforge kind of bleed this kind of like oil suspension thing.
Okay.
So like they'd have that, and they had a person who can bleed normally, and then they can have some water from a water flask, and that's how you solve it. But they didn't do that, and that's fine. You don't have to solve every single puzzle by the book. And
Be like that.
whatever your party enjoys is what you gotta do, really. And I feel like we can just probably stop there, honestly. Uh, Thanks for everyone who popped in, and yeah, no, always nice seeing people chat and help us out. Given, yeah, no, it's tough not to be able to look up everything that I usually as a DM. That's what I do.
Thank you, chatters in the chat.
Yeah, the chatters in the chat. Yeah, no, shout out to the chatters, and hopefully, yeah, I will be making sure to upload these episodes to our YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure everyone's in the Discord server. But in case you aren't, those links are in the chat too. And yeah, no, take it easy, y'all, and we'll see y'all next session.